good day, everyone. Um, Good to have everyone here on this call. Welcome to the Axiom by Walure webinar. Right. So there's a reason why we're having this webinar. It's just so that all of us can actually get to learn from each other. Right. So if you're joining, welcome. This webinar is being powered by Walure. So if you can see my screen, right, it is titled Build It Live. And on the first series of this webinar, we'll be touching on product design, right? So if you're in the tech space, I'm very sure you'll be familiar of what design is. Everything from every website to every application that you have used, whether on mobile, whether on web, whether on applications, it is being designed by a product designer, right? So we will actually just be looking through what it means to become a product designer through this webinar. But before we get started, right, I'm sure you have seen us, you've heard about what we do, right? So, yeah. So, Axiom Academy is a Walore initiative. The goal is to equip people across Africa with technology and digital skills, right? Axiom is the academy that does that at Walure, right? So if you're curious, you can check our social media pages. We have trained over 5,000 people in tech, right? And we offer these services for both personal, individuals, and corporate organizations. So whether you're a person that is looking to upskill, whether you're a fresh graduate that is looking to upskill, whether you're a graduate that is looking to transfer your skills into tech, Axiom is here for you. And we have a vision statement which says that to be the leading tech and talent provider in Kenya. With our mission statement is to empower individuals and organizations with access to the real opportunities in tech. As we all know, right, tech is one of the best industries to be in. It is inclusive, and there's a lot of opportunities for each and every one because tech has impacted our lives. The reason why we're on this call is because of we are tech savvy. Yeah, so there's something that we usually do at Axiom, right? Because we are a diverse community with different people, right? I will actually want to know where you guys are joining us from. So please kindly use the chat box, right, to indicate where you are joining us from. There's a reason why we do this at Axiom. It is very, very important for us to know where people are joining the call from because tech is actually big. This is a virtual call. People can be joining from different countries and different cities, and it is really good for us to know where we are joining from. Right, so you can make use of the chat box. If you are joining from Nairobi, please indicate if it's Westlands, if it's Kilimani, if it's another county, right? You can actually just make use of the chat box to actually indicate where you're joining from. You might never know who your neighbor is. Yeah, so I actually want to see a number of people's comments so we can proceed, right? Please use the chat box to actually highlight where you're joining us from. And as we proceed, yeah, so for those of you that have been wondering the voice behind the screen, my name is Olamide, right? And I'm a business technology leader, passionate about helping people get into tech. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I will say in my short or long career, I've been able to transition a lot of people, individuals into tech. And the good thing about this industry is that, right, you get to see people from ground zero actually acquiring skills, right, and becoming fully employed. That is the beauty of technology, and that is the beauty of the job that we do here at Axiom, right? So I'm actually the academy manager, And on the call with me is my colleague, Olivia. So I'm sure if some of you have actually joined from different platforms, I'm sure you'll have probably seen her face. You'll have probably seen a video uh, of her telling people about tech, educating people about the tech ecosystem, why you have to join now, right? She's a wonderful person. Yeah. So as we proceed, uh, there are different kind of people that are trying to get into tech, right? I will actually want to know which of this, which describes you as a person, right? So you can probably make use of the chat box. You can write like maybe A, B, C, or D, right? I'm curious to know which one describes you as a person, right? Are you a curious beginner? Are you just looking at getting started in tech? Have you been learning on your own? Are you a student? Are you learning through YouTube and other platforms, trying to explore what skills suits you to get started in tech, right? I'll actually appreciate if you can actually do that, so that we can actually be able to categorize what works for you as we are on this session. Yeah. And to get started to the business of the day, right? For those of you that are curious about product design, our guest is actually Alex. Alex is a senior product designer. He has been designing a number of platforms, applications, and websites that some of you have actually used, right? He's a senior designer within the tech space. Oh, awesome. I can see a number of people have actually responded to the question, right? So, I mean, that's awesome. While we are trying to get Alex on the call, we have Marvin joining us from Cape Town. We have Grace joining us from Nairobi. We have Purity joining us from Nairobi, and a number of other people.
All right, I think we'll get started. So my name is Tafari Alex Mwangi. I'm the lead product partner at Movara Consult. So what we'll be talking about today is how we design products that feel intuitive. So this just gives us a peek inside the UX process that we use at Movara Consult, to be able to come from business problems to shipped products. So this will be my introduction. So who I am and who Movara is. So I'm Tafari Alex Mwange. As I said, I'm the lead product partner at Movara Consult. So here we help now fuzzy business problems to become actual product that people use. So we have been in the product industry for about 10 years, and we have been able to ship out at least 40 projects that we have been part of. And then Movara is a product design studio that partners with teams to do research, design, and also develop digital products from an end to end. So we are in the spaces of fintech, healthcare, logistics, and also the public sector and the legal space. So I think we'll just dive right into it. So this will be now our main UX process. So it's defined in 5 stages of how we approach problems for our solutions. So one, we have a discover and research phase. Then we proceed to ideations, prototyping, testing, and validating, and then UI design handoff. So under discovery, as you can see, here is where we come to understand the problem. So here we define the business problems as we go. So we need to have a deep understanding of what the actual challenge is that we are actually solving with this particular problem. So if it's sending money problem, what is the core challenge that the users are facing? We need to understand and dig deep. So how you end up understanding the problem is first having user interviews, doing comparative analysis, creating user personas, also coming up with now the business analytics that guides and shapes the understanding of what the business is actually facing as a challenge and how then we'll proceed to now be able to solve their issue. Again, once we have understood now the particular problem at hand, we dive directly into now brainstorming ways on how we can actually solve that problem. So if it's a challenge for moving from point A to point B, how else can we be able to make it simpler for a user to be able to get request a service and get sorted out? So here we explore business solutions and behavior. So how people will actually move throughout the entire product. So here we also map out things like user flows, user journeys, and all of those flowcharts that are able to show us the steps that a user will be guided in able to perform a task within the application. Then after that, we now proceed to making it now tangible. So here is where now we get our hands dirty. So we come and now create wireframes. So the wireframes, as Olamide said, it's the designs that you interact with on an application. The buttons, the images you see, the call to actions that you have, the text that you read, all of them are now part of now the design structure that we built. So here we come and now create things like high fidelity, low fidelities, and then working prototypes, and then making them responsive if it's a web application, making it now thoroughly and physically tangible that you can also test on the hand. Then after now we have done that and set now the tangible designs, now we have to test, then iterate. So what testing and iterating does, it validates what we are trying to come up with. So in terms of testing, we usually have two approaches. So there's usability testing and then there's the A/B testing. So on usability testing is, okay, how easy is it for me to perform this task? So the usual one is, if it takes me more than 10 clicks to do a task, you'll probably lose a user. So how do we shorten it? How do we make it easier and usable for you, for the users to be able to use? And then now A/B testing is now testing different varieties of layouts. So between version A and version B, which one do users tend to lean on more when you're testing with them? Then now that now forms now the foundation of what will actually be shipped out into the final product that will be in the market. Then after all of that is done and dusted, we now hand off to the engineering team. So once the designs have been finalized and everything is set, we need to do a design handoff. And in the design handoff is where we now come up with all the components, the states that will be ready to be implemented by the development team. So I think probably I could also now showcase another part of the work. All right. I hope you can see my screen again. So now here's where the real magic works and happens. So as I told you before, this is where we now build everything designed. Then we hand it off now to the developers from this particular point. So at this particular juncture is where we come up now with process flows. So from the process flow that you are able to see, we have the landing, the user, then there's the logging in, there's how we'll sign up, the processes will follow, what will be able to be seen at the dashboard, and then in each pillar, what will be happening. So now this just marks a high level view of the flowchart experience that we're able to map out. So for this, we map them out module by module or feature by feature. So there's an onboarding journey for this particular one, had date manager, and then another date manager. So we're able to now map them out based on the modules from an end-to-end perspective. Then now we proceed now into the actual ground of things. So now these are now high fidelity mockups. So here is where now you're able to see the end-to-end designs in a high fidelity approach. So you're able to see the layout, everything that needs to come out to fruition, and how the developer will actually implement. So this now will actually mimic the ideal application that will be at hand. So I don't think because of time we'll not be able to dive into how we create them per se because of time. But now this is what comes up at the end of the high fidelity bit. And then we have now the desktop versions. So for the desktop versions, again, it's a web application. We have things like margins, spaces, there's the grid layout, there's all of those things that you are required to be able to understand. So now those are the nitty-gritties about design. And then I think for the last bit that I usually advise designers, always have an archive page. So for the archive page, what it helps is this is where you bring in all the clutter and the things that you need and you have done. So let's say on the iteration that you're doing, something is removed. So you don't have to just delete it and dis- do away with it. What you do is you archive it, put it aside because you might need it later. That then you'll have to come and recreate it from scratch. So I think this would be just a high level view for that. Probably go back to now the presentation. All right. So after handing off and building, we are able now to go now to our final part of the presentation. So this is the reflections bit. So what the industry has taught me and what we can do better. So I think I have two reflections so far in my journey so far, the far that I've come. So agility will always win in running a full end-to-end product cycle. So rather than having things queuing up, wait for designs to finish so that they can go to implementation, wait for implementation. Agility now is a whole parallel circle where things are moving in a form of a wheel, where everything is revolving at the same time. So I think it helps the product to be shaped out clearly, creatively, and thoroughly because no part is left behind. We are all moving in a circle together with each other. So as I'm designing probably this module, the developer has picked start on this other end. So agility wins at the end of the day. And then something that we can do better to manage design as a craft. So we need to treat the design process as a critical part of the cycle. So it needs to be managed deliberately and equipped with the right tools. So when you say equipped with the right tools is when you're coming to a conversation with, let's say, a designer, are you able to clearly articulate the problem that they're solving? Are you able to clearly communicate what it is that you have in your mind and what you're expecting? And then now, are you able to also give the designer the critical space that they need to come up with the creative capabilities to be able to come up and now design their products to its fruition and to its understanding, and to also get the exact thought that you have in mind. So those would be the two reflections that we have, and I think that would be my time. So start with the problem and let the process do the rest. So discover, ideate, prototype, test, and handoff. Run the agile way. So I've been your guest, Tafari Alex Mwangi, and I think that marks the end of my presentation. So back to you, Olamide.
We are trying to make this as fast and as interesting as possible. So I actually want to ask people on the call, right? Do you have questions? Do you have questions? If you have questions, please kindly make use of the chat box, or the chat box and drop your questions. Also, right, that is just a simple like presentation about a design process, right? So there's a lot that happens within the tech space, right? So it started from, why design matters, design thinking processes, right? You need to understand your user's problem. You need to do your research and gather insights. You need to brainstorm. Then he proceeded to talking about wireframes and prototypes, right? Also, he made us understand that you are designing for people, not yourself, right? I'm sure all of us have used Google. We all use Google Forms, or we use what's it called? We use Google Play Store or Apple Store, right? I'm certain that one of the things that we've seen that they've asked us to do is we should give a feedback. Some of this feedback, when you give them in terms of design processes or design thinking, right? The designer goes back to work on it. That is why sometimes when you see designs, you observe that, oh, this design has improved. There's an update, right? So, I mean, let's say a big thank you to Alex for actually just letting us to understand what the role of a designer is within the tech space, right? So please and please, I wouldn't mind if you're on the call, if you can just write thank you, Alex, on the chat, right? I really, really will appreciate that because it is very, very difficult getting top industry experts on similar calls like this to actually walk us through what they do and talk about their experience in design. So to proceed, if there are no further questions, we had this session is called Real People, Real Stories, right? Like I said earlier, Axiom has transitioned over 5,000 people into the tech space, right? And we will always want to share our testimonials with people so that you can actually understand that some of these people were just like you, and now they are way more better in their careers, right? So this is from a guy, Kunle. He said that, Walure, I found a truly supportive and intellectually stimulating environment, one that pushed me to unlearn, relearn, and broaden my understanding, right? Hello, Tech World, a new learner has arrived. I mean, and he's so proud to show off his certificate that he got from Axiom. That is one of the testimonials, that we've gotten, right? So if you're a student, if you're a working class professional, uh, whichever is your category, if you're looking at upskilling, if you're looking at learning from the beginning, Axiom is here for you, right? This is also one by Joshua, right? Earlier this year, I decided to deepen my understanding on front end. I took a bold step by registering with Walure, with experience from a back end background, right? I used to think front end was all about HTML and CSS, but I was wrong, right? It challenged me to think in layout, responsiveness, and user experience. This was one of the things that Alex talked about, user experience, right? Special thanks to the Axiom by Walore team for providing hands-on learning environment, constant support, and real-world projects to work on. So, right, these are some of the few impacts of Axiom, right? So if you're coming to learn from Axiom, trust me, you are coming to have real practical hands-on experience and also being part of a community, right? So if you're looking at learning soon, as you're on this call, we are all a community together here. Oh, okay. So there's still one more testimony I will actually want us to to watch together, right? Because it's one thing to actually show slides, is another thing to hear people talk about the wonderful work that Axiom has been doing so far in Nairobi.
Answer. Dennis. So the question is, how are you balancing the efficiency of AI-generated layouts with the need to maintain genuine user
So there's
empathy
actually a
and
question
distinct brand
in the
personality?
chat box which says,
Yeah. I think this is a very good question that Dennis has raised. So for me, how I'd like to take AI in my view is AI for me is a tool that is in my hands. So it's not coming to replace me rather than it needs me to be able to be effective. The same way a knife is useless when it's on the table rather than when I have it in my hand. I can cut, I can kill, I can slaughter, I can do anything with it. So the same case is with me for AI. So I think how AI generates the layouts, uh, it's very kind of vague at this stage in my interactions with them. So what it does, it over engineers everything most of the time, and then some parts don't end up being accurately defined. So it needs now my guidance as now the user experience guy to come in and now be able to now handle now the brand personality that you're talking, be empathetic for the users that we have, and then be able to now balance off now the whole efficiency that AI has generated, and then now translate it now into a rather simpler, more empathetic, and then now that it communicates to now the branch of the particular business that will be solving or the problem that we are actually trying to solve. So AI is just a tool that helps and balances things out. So I don't think we should be much worried about it. But then I think we'll see as it go as it progresses. I think that's answered the question. I hope it does answer you, Dennis.
all right, Dennis, hope you got clarity with your question. Also, there is something that Axiom by Walure offers, right? It's a chance for people to learn with a certified training institute, right? So Axiom is in Nairobi, for those of you that are aware, right? And the thing about learning is that, right, you need accreditations, right? There's a lot of accreditations that Axiom has within Africa, right? And these are just a few, right? Axiom is certified by Nature. Axiom is certified by the Institute of Analytics in the United Kingdom. Axiom is certified by CompTIA across different programs. So, what are the benefits of actually coming to an academy like Axiom, right? You have access to training professionals, right? Understanding the principles. They make you understand the principles, right? You eliminate trial and error. There's nothing that beats learning from a professional. Alex is a professional. Dennis asked a question. Alex answered the question, right? That has eliminated trial and error. The error that could have occurred there is Dennis going to YouTube, Dennis trying to use AI to solve those things. But as a professional, he said that he's just going to support or help. Then also, there's what they call mentors, right? Mentors. This is one of the key things that Axiom offers. Mentors, right? Having people that has gone through the same journey with you that can give you clear-cut direction and being able to solve problems together. Then cosmates. All of us together on this call, we are cosmates. What is working now? AI is working now. How do you use it in respect to your skill set that you're learning? How do you use it in design? Right? Alex has answered the question. So if you come to an academy like Axiom, you're going to see guys like Alex and how they use AI. Then also a certificate. All Axiom programs, if you are done, you are going to get a certificate. Then internships. Axiom is committed that at least all its students are meant to get internships, whether it's paid and unpaid, because practice makes perfect. We don't want people to learn without having where they are going to practice. Then also as a business, right, we facilitate job placement for people, right? We've done this with a number of organizations in Kenya, in Nigeria, in the UK, right? So it could be a bit competitive at that level, but also, right, Axiom is your one-stop shop to learn, innovate, and inspire. So imagine you're coming into a community that offers you mentors, classmates, internship, and can help you facilitate job placement. I mean, that is why Axiom is here. Yeah. So as Axiom, we have what we call a learning map, right? It is very, very, very important that you know your part in the journey, right? If you should recall, I asked a question in respect to people should write where they fit in A, B, C, D. So you can see, if you can see my screen, right? Learn, innovate, inspire. O1 says this is where you start, right? You take the first step by registering into the Axiom Academy, right? And if you are curious to know what has been happening in Axiom in Kenya, right? Kindly go to our social media pages at walure.kenya and on TikTok, right? You will see what our track record is, right? And you see, building foundational skills, because we have different schools, right? We have the coding school, we have the product school, we have the data and security school, we have the AI school. For the purpose of this school, right, this is under product, where we have UI UX designers. Then once you choose your path and you learn, right, there's the part that we call gain experience. That's the part of where the internship comes in. We have what is called TAP program. We have mentorship and team projects. All these are part of your portfolio. All these are for your resume building skills. Then, before you get to 5, in terms of getting a full-time job, working in a startup, and being a training facilitator with Axiom, right? So see Axiom as your human capital development partner, from learning to earning to working. It's in 3 in 1, right? So for everyone, I will urge you to actually get started soon for the purpose of this call. So any questions so far? Yeah, so I mean, if you are curious, right, there's a website on the chat box. My colleagues will actually drop the Axiom by Walure website. You can click on that website to actually learn more about your learning, innovation, and getting inspired. Yeah, like I said, learn, innovate, and build, right? So we offer different courses at Axiom, right? For the purpose of this call, which is product design, right? The product design UI UX course is just 50,000 Kenyan shillings, right? And it runs for 8 weeks. One thing I usually tell people is that, right, by the time you are coming, you can come as a novice, you can come as a beginner, but you need to come with the attitude of wanting to learn, right? You'll be surprised in 8 weeks what you can actually do and build. So far, you have a laptop, internet connection. You can walk into the Axiom office at Westland to join your classes. And one thing we usually emphasize at Axiom is that it is like you are going to a school, right? We currently have people in classes, right? Your schedules are twice a week. So it's like you're going to a school. Classes run from Mondays to Fridays across different programs. From the top of my head, I think design classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think Tuesdays in the morning hours and Thursdays in the afternoon hours, right? You actually be surprised that if you take the bold step and join the design class for just 50,000 Kenyan shillings, right? you will become a designer in a short while, courtesy of Axiom. So also, I mean, we have other different programs for other people on the call, from data science to data analytics, AI automation, cybersecurity, agile project management, DevOps, product design, product management, mobile development, software quality assurance, front end and back end, right? So if you're curious to know more about these courses, we'll be having a series of webinar. Right, this is the first set. We'll be having another one on Tuesday, same time, same StreamYard. Right, so if you're curious to know on courses like data, mobile development like Flutter, and cybersecurity, right, please check us on Instagram, follow us, turn on your notifications. You will always get access to platforms and opportunities like this, where we bring industry experts. Right, so the next cohort is going to start August. Right, the next cohort is going to start August 24. So if you're looking at joining the design class, please note it down that the next cohort is going to start August 24, 2026. So we look forward to having you guys and seeing you guys in class. Right, the rate for the design program is just 50,000 Kenyan shillings. Yeah, so I want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining this call. We've come to the end of this webinar, right? So if you have questions, you can quickly drop it in the chat box. If you are curious about getting started, please just go to the Axiom by Walure website and yeah, just select the program of your interest and register, and the course advisor is going to speak with you personally and support you in getting started in design and also getting into tech. Right, so guys, hope we did have a good time on this session. If there are no further questions, please let us enjoy the rest of our evening. Cheers, everyone. Bye.